Oh, geez. You freaked me out there. Welcome back to the worm anyway. I did it. I finally got out here relatively early. It's supposed to be crazy hot, so I just want to get a little bit done before I roast. The attached walk-through doghouse is looking beatific. The last video, we got all the lumber milled up for all of the framing and got that put together. I think perhaps the last thing we did was borax the whole thing to keep bugs out of there and keep junk from growing on it. So we got a quick little decision to make. Do we put the roof on there, which will be aspen, and we have the aspen logs for it, or do we find some cedar for the walls? It's pretty stout the way it is. It only has that one brace left on it. But if we closed in those two walls with cedar first, it would be rock steady. And also continue to let the morning light through there onto the floor to dry that out. So I guess we just made up our minds. We got to find some cedar. Where would we find? Oh yeah, there's cedar everywhere. With a lot of these building projects, I either have a stash of cedar logs sitting there or an idea of something I want to clear out. I don't have either of those right now. However, I do have some areas that I'd like to thin a little bit, just right around camp here. And this is only going to take a few, well, actually, might take more than a few logs, because we could also at the same time mill up the cedar for the inside of this, and we could dry it. We're not going to put it up until probably this fall, but we could stack and sticker it. Let's see what we can find around here. I know of two of them anyway that wanna come down. This guy here is always in my way trying to back the trailer around here. This one's also kind of in the way, and I have no idea why I didn't cut this down before I built the cabin. It is leaning directly at the cabin. So why I left it, I have no idea. And all the limb weight is on that side too. I mean, that might be why it's leaning. I don't really have an easy way to get it down. I guess we could block and tackle it, hook it to the winch on the four-wheeler and kind of work it over that way. Anyway, that's two. What were the other ones here? Oh yeah, the ones we've looked at so far. That's the only one that has any meat to it. That would be a tough one to get down, and it's way bigger than the rest, so it kind of makes sense to leave that one and cut the others. Okay. Oh my god. Jeez, oh Pete. Dude will plow you right over if you're not ready for it. You know what, let's not go any further. Let's just start cutting. We'll get down the ones we know we need. We'll stack up some logs and get some idea of how much lumber we're going to get out of them. And if we think we'll need more, we'll just keep thinning. Let's start back here by the shower, because it's in the shade right now. Ooh, only for a few more minutes though. Well, we can get this thing down. It's hot enough today that I'm going for chaps, because I can pop them on and off easily. When I'm not cutting, I won't die a heat stroke. Saw pants are really a lot nicer, but man, you sweat in them. Oh, that big one's got some good straight limbs, which is great because I need a lot more wood chips, cedar wood chips. You know what? I just had a realization. We can't cut a bunch of small trees because I don't have any way to get rid of this brush right now. It's too dry. Clearly I'm going to chip whatever branches I can, but there's just so much little stuff like this. And I do not have a place to pile 5 or 6 or 7 trees worth. So we're just going to have to go for 1 or 2 big ones that need thinning and I have easy access to. This here is a pretty good one, very straight. Only branches on one side. Back is freaking killing me. Some mornings I just get up and kind of work through it and things loosen up, but geez, oh Pete, it's like my love handles and top of my butt have electrodes in them. All I did is strip half the limbs off this tree and I'm already drenched. Yeah, you can actually see the humidity in the air too. Well, let's chop this log up and get it pulled out of the way. Got right there. Is this about where the jog is? One there. Maybe one. Where is it? Here? Down about one more foot. Nope, couldn't do it. Back got too bad, temperature got too high. I was freaking suffering, so Kuiper and I went and sat. I hate to admit it, we went and sat in the car for a little while with the AC on and the seat tipped all the way back. I just spent the morning calling around to see how much an MRI would cost, which my doctor said I should get. If you live in the boonies, it's only about $3 grand, even if you have insurance. And if you want to drive, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 hours, something, you can get one for as little as $300, which is kind of a problem when the one thing you can't really do at all is sit. I don't know, is it worth like $2,000 to sit in absolute pain for 10 hours in a car? I think it's another one of those times where we're just not going to think about it for yet another day and hope things fix themselves. We got 2.5 decent logs out of that tree, and we also have this guy, and that's pretty skinny too. And I don't think that's long enough to sit on the sawhorses, but we could mill that. And there might be something else laying around here, I do not know. So I think that's enough to side the doghouse. By the way, Kuiper and I were just falling asleep in the tent last night, and we had the craziest lightning storm. The first flash of lightning was so bright that it woke me up. I opened my eyes and I had time to think, oh, it's already daytime? Because you could just like look around the tent, look at him. He was sitting up looking at me like it was midday, and then of course it went out, and then boom. So we were both up for an hour or two in the middle of that. I could have put earplugs in, but I kind of like it. Just freaking hammering rain, not that much wind, so it was quite nice. It's crazy when it rains that hard for that long and you're just laying in a tent and there's just like a millimeter of nylon between you and the outdoors. But since it rained so hard, we can now burn all that brush, except it's way too hard on my back to do that kind of work right now. So we've got the log lifter upper. I don't have to do any heavy lifting. Let's mill these suckers up. Now the weird thing is, I can lift just fine, but I can't bend. I know those things seem to go together, but for the first half of the day, if I gotta pet the dog, you gotta put your hands on your knees and crouch down, and then kind of work your way back up. Once that's cooled down a little bit, I could probably get under and lift this log, and it would be all right. I don't know, it's very strange, and it changes day to day. 1 or 2 days, it's pain all the way on this side, and then it cools down for 4 or 5 days, and then it's something else I can't do. That's why it's good to have several different steps of a building project going on at the same time, because you can find something that you can still do. You can't freaking lay around all day. That is incredible. Just one sheet, and with hardly any chirality to it. See that? It's got about 3 inches of chirality all the way to the end. It almost makes something out of that bark right there. Oh, that is so nice. Don't you think that's nice, buddy? You like it. You're just waiting for the toy. You know, I don't think that's how you use that word. I think you can only have chirality, like right-handed, left-handed. I don't think you can have a certain amount. Maybe. Probably we'll never know. you eating my whole birch bark stash? Do you think I don't need that anymore? He's great at disassembling things. Yeah, another thing I was going to mention about all that rain, I forgot to cover up the doghouse. Doesn't make a lot of sense to leave it all open and airy to try to dry the lumber out and then leave it in a torrential overnight thunderstorm. $6.50 says this is perfect cedar. Yep, look at that, gorgeous. Perfect. A little bit soft in the knots there, but otherwise looks pretty good. What are we doing? Oh, 3/4. 3/4 inch siding, right? Look at that, so fun to mill cedar. It's like 20 seconds of board to push it through. Don't even really need the winch. Not only is it nice building lumber, but weighs nothing. I guess it's been a while since I milled cedar. Plus, all the other species we've been milling are a lot wider and quite a bit thicker. 3/4 inch, like 8-inch wide. This is paper. If you do chainsaw milling without heavy equipment to lift the logs, you have to build one of these. It is a freaking game changer, and I will say that every video. Thank you very much. Just had an idea. These really small cedar logs, it's hard to get the last slab out of them. I mean, you could slab that. You can actually get a 3/4 inch board, but in some places there's only a width like that. So by the time you trim the sides off, there's really nothing left. But you know what I haven't done in a while is make a log faced anything. In fact, I don't think I've done it since I made the man cave. Let's see what we got in the stash. We've got one there. I actually could get a slab out of that probably. That one I couldn't. And then from the last couple logs, I've got 3 here. That would be pretty good. And then we've got a whole bunch of stuff under there. Oh yeah, we could get something out of some of those. I think a few of them are pretty small leftover stuff from the last project, but we definitely have enough. Let's have a look at the doghouse and see how much we'd need. Oh, well, it would look like this, which is a pretty sweet look, and it's really not any different than using actual cedar lumber. In fact, it's a lot thicker. It does eventually dry out kind of funny and pull away from the wall like that, but you know, it's not too bad. Oh, which brings up another thought. Should we put we probably should put house wrap on this. Wonder if I have any left. No idea where it would be. Probably under the cabin. If we're going to insulate the place and there's a pass-through right into the cabin, we want to make sure bugs can't get through there. Oh yeah, I can see a little bit. Hey, there's that survival bow, and there's the rest of the house wrap. That's a huge long roll. It's got to be more than 8 feet. I bet it's 10 anyway. Yeah, there's plenty. So I don't think we'll do the door side with logs because that'll just make it heavier. We could at very least do this. I mean, shoot, we could do that too. I don't know if there's enough to do all of it. You know what else would look pretty weird? What if I did every other course, board, log, just because I've never seen it before. See that right there? I just saw a little clump fall down. Oh yeah, I forgot to borax these underneath here because what's his name was under here. Oh, hey look, there's my other clamp. I was looking for that yesterday. What do you think? You want boards or you want logs? Do you think you could lean against me a little bit harder, please? Yep, sure can. Since I can see there's still critters living in there, I'll probably come back another time tomorrow and do this. Or the next day, let it soak a bit. I'll just saturate the crap out of these things. I think that's happening right there because we didn't trim the bottom of the floor joist. So that's where the sapwood is, and I think that's where the critters like to grow. Grow? Live? I don't know what they do. Yeah, it's like, look at these pieces. There's no sapwood on that, no sapwood on that. You can see that white line there, that's the sapwood. See the holes? All the 2x4s have been trimmed down. The frame hasn't been trimmed at all, so there's a lot of sapwood on that. We'll kill them, don't you worry. It would be interesting to crawl around under the cabin now and just see if there are any holes or sawdust piles or anything. Because that's all the same logs. It might even be the same tree, I can't remember. But I think I raxed that 3 different times over several months. Some of the critters in there, I don't know why I think this, but I think they're the, why can't I ever remember? Not arbor beetles, Sawyer beetles. I think I've said that 10 times on this channel. I think it's the Sawyer beetle larva, like the big fat creepy wormy looking things. You can hear them chomping on wood easily 20 feet away. You can't always find the exact hole in a log because of the bark, but if it's lumber sitting out or something, or a log that's peeled, you can put your ear right up to it and you can find the exact hole that they're crunching in. And I definitely haven't heard any crunching in the cabin. Holy cow, it's 2:30. We almost missed your lunch. Look how much he fills that dog bed up now. It was so huge when we made it. Sit. Down. Look at that. Almost the whole thing. Oh. Oh, you're spilling them, buddy. So we don't get mice. As many mice, anyway. Oh, 64 degrees right now. Partly cloudy. I hate stopping for lunch, but I have an idea. Oh my gosh. I already missed the mushrooms. Oh, like 2 crops already went to spore. I didn't get any puffballs this year. You guys know this is the spot I get them every year. That log had a bunch on there. Looks like they got eaten up. And this is where I usually get a bunch of them, and they're already sporing. Oh man, I was gonna make a grilled puffball, turkey, and mushroom cheese toasted sandwich. I guess we can take a quick look. I told Sarah if she got here within a week, I'd make her a puffball omelet, but she gets here tomorrow, and it looks like they're done for. How is that possible? They didn't even come up for another month and a half last year. Anybody know why that would happen? I mean, it hasn't been crazy warm until just recently. Yep, these are the ones we looked at like a week ago. I mean, it's still going to be a good sandwich, don't get me wrong. Sandwich. I don't know if blackening is going to make it worse, but let's try a little bit. A little bit of smoked bacon aioli. Well, it's missing the mushrooms, but we're going to give it the best chance we can of being a good sandwich. You know how you do that? Diagonal cut. Sandwiches cut straight down the middle just taste disgusting. Ooh, that mushroom cheese really liquefied. Yep, that'll do just fine. I've been listening to Where Should We Begin? Esther Perel podcast. Man, it's a great podcast. So fascinating. Relationships are so fascinating. Relationships and bugs. That's all a guy needs to keep him interested in life. I say we rip the edges off of these boards, do a little measuring, see how much more we need. Then maybe plow through that pile, see what's in there. Grrr. Still 2 cedar logs back there since I haven't put everything away. I'm gonna do those first, even though we probably won't need them for weeks. Well, that's not a lot of extra lumber, but it was worth milling. 7 or 8 boards to add to the collection. Yeah, actually, this log was pretty good. It's 63 degrees. I'm not passing up on this day, even though it freaking hurts to walk. Just have to stay just a little bit bent over like an old man, and it's all right. Yet still in the sun, it's too freaking hot for me. Where is the winter? We need that good driving snow and painful cold. Oh, can't wait. Can't wait. Every time I throw a scrap, somebody goes and grabs it and puts it somewhere else. Yep, there it goes. I'm gonna have to pick them up from all over here, but it's still kind of funny. Whoa, that was a crazy quick storm. I felt like 2 raindrops, and I looked at the radar, and there was a nuts cell coming in. It would lightning. It would take like 7 or 8 seconds to get the thunder. Some of the booms were really big, and it would go boom, and Kuiper would paw. He'd like try to wipe it off his face. That dude's like a cartoon sometimes. Oh, it washed all his treats onto the ground. Kuiper, come. Do you mind if there's a little dirt on it? Oh, you don't, do you? It's all the time I had to keep my tools dry. Yep, it worked. Wow, the rain even blasted one of Kuiper's spare bones off the handrail up there. It didn't wash my lines off, that's good. Luckily, I was able to keep the middle of the boards dry, which is the most important part. It doesn't make any difference if the ends are soaked. This is a thing I learned in structural engineering. You wouldn't understand. Come with me. Freaking soaked right through. The last couple of weeks, it's just summertime, you know? There's nothing on the radar, and then these storm cells just pop up. The good thing is I started up the generator so I could cut a little bit faster, and I got them all done at the last second. Well, a few seconds before the last second. Oh, well, let's just hope we zipped up the tent. Well, you don't know it, but welcome back to the worm. It's like at least a week later. Tito has come and gone. Sarah's been here for 4 or 5 days. Haven't picked up the camera in probably a week. My back started getting really bad. So they both came up to help out. Got some more water in the tower. And they kind of helped me get my life back together. It's kind of scary for a while. One day I woke up and actually said to Sarah, you got to take me to the emergency room. because it wasn't just the normal morning pain that takes me a while to loosen up. Like I couldn't stand up, I couldn't do anything, I couldn't move my arms. It's just in excruciating pain, and she would have taken me to the ER, but we couldn't figure out how to get me out of here. Like I thought about calling an ambulance, but how would they get back here? You know, four-wheeler, how am I gonna ride on a four-wheeler if I can't stand up, can't sit down? But everything's back under control. It's I'm kind of back to where I've been for the last couple months. Still about 100 times a day feels like somebody's got an ice pick right between my vertebrae back there. But the good thing is it took like 5 or 6 days now, but I'm getting an MRI scheduled hopefully by the end of the day today. Until then, there's no reason to think that doing my normal light work around here is making anything worse. I think if anything, it makes it better. It's hard to get up and move around, and then the more I move around, the less pain I have, so we're gonna do it. Before Tito left yesterday, I asked him to come over and look at the doghouse and check out my different ideas, and we decided we're gonna do the half log look just on the front of the doghouse because it's that short wall. I definitely have plenty of half rounds for that, so we'll slap those on, and then we'll just do the back wall with the boards we already milled up. Shouldn't be too bad, as long as they don't fall apart. It's gonna be a hot one, so I'm gonna work over here in the corner by the man cave. Just gonna rip the edges off those half rounds on the stumps here. And then hopefully we'll get these 2 walls put on tomorrow. It's supposed to be nice and cool. I think it's like a high of 71, but it's also supposed to start raining about 12 or 1 o'clock, so we'll have to do it in the morning. All right, enough talking. Enough sitting around, you know? I think we only need, how many feet across is it? 5 something. So let's cut these at 6. We'll just cut the best 6 feet out each one. That ought to be plenty enough, eh? What do we need? 4 feet at most? Oh yeah, 4.5 feet. You can see these are the ones we peeled a few days ago where the bark came off nice. These must have been done during the winter or something. But in time, they will all look the same. Of course, this wood has never been treated in any way, but they were a mix. You can see this one was probably peeled when it was wet. This one was not. Still got the bark on it because nobody bothered to draw knife it. Should probably draw knife them, but what I'm thinking is we'll put them up. Let's see, these have to hang over the end. We've got the back wall button into it, and we'll have regular boards on there. Pop this back off, cut it, and then we'll draw knife it. That way we're not draw knifing more than we have to, because we probably end up with like 6 extra inches on either end of these. That's my way of saying I don't feel like draw knifing them right now. But in order to fit them tight together, let's at least run the planer over the edges. Since a lot of these are dried out, they got a big bow this way, which doesn't matter too much, but we might as well just take a little bit out of there so they lay flat on the frame. Good enough. Dude, hey, don't eat rocks. What the hell is wrong with you? Go on, go. Rocks? Look at it, and you still have twigs hanging out of your mouth. Here, want this? Want this, stupid? Dude, you're back already? Eating rocks? Go away. You're sometimes a little bit smart and sometimes really, really dumb. Do you know that? Go on, here's some more sticks. Go get them. We're just gonna kind of eyeball it. No level, no nothing. It just feels right to tuck it up underneath there, and then I don't have to do any jigsawing. Oh yeah, something feels wrong about that. So this looks the same here and down here, so that's level, but these boards aren't the same height from one end to the other, so this is actually what needs to be level. And that is reason number 600, 404. That's why you don't pound nails all the way in. It's not perfect here because that's just the rough cut end, but that's all going to get caulked in, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Well, I've had Kuiper for what, a good 3 months now, and he hasn't ruined anything of mine until just now. I mean, one time I left one of his brushes on the floor when he was maybe around 3 months old or something. He chewed the end of it before I got it. Nothing else. Look at this. You know he's my dog because he freaking loves the tent. A lot of times when I can't find him out here, I look over, he's sitting inside the vestibule, just sitting there looking out. You are not a good dog, are you? It's a little bit airier than it was last time I looked. Isn't it? Isn't it, you jerk? The door was unzipped and flipped down, and you put a tarp or anything on the ground, he always lays on it. My guess is he came in here, I saw him, went back to what I was doing. 5-10 minutes later, looked for him again, and he was no longer sitting in the doorway, he was ripping the doorway to pieces. Good thing is, I guess this is a deep vestibule, and unless it's really pouring, it'll still stop the water from getting in there. Back in the day when all I had was a tent out here, anything that couldn't go in the lean-to was in my tent, but now I sleep in here, all I've got's my bedding and that's it. So I don't really need this giant area to store anything. Still, it kind of sucks that you did that. Is that how you show that you love the tent? You're a real pain, you know that? A real pain. Good thing doing this short wall is I don't have to do any pieces. This can all be one long run each. Well, I guess we're gonna let that end hang up off until we get the other wall figured out. But we might as well trim these as we go. Oh man, these are so warped. It's gonna take some big nails to straighten them out. That's a lot of warp. Just decided to go scraggly all the way up, even though I'm going to have to now draw knife all of these. I wonder what we're going to do with the top here. You don't want to think ahead. Don't think ahead. Just pound nails. The easiest way to be cut a board that fits, well, either fits in the whole thing or do it like that. Put one board up to the bottom there and then cut individual chunks for the eave ends. I think this thing might be tall enough. Should we just try to do this all the way up? It's always kind of a pain in the butt to do. Let's see if we're even close. It's not too bad. A little too deep on that side. Not deep enough on the... Oh wait, where's the line? Oh, that's right on the line there. They're actually all pretty close to the line when they're jammed up there. Except for this very last one here. That looks pretty good. I likey. So at some point, pull those off, route the edges, then we'll put all the nails in. Those will eventually get draw knifed, and then we'll caulk. Everything will get caulked in with roof tar. Oh man, I'm beat. Totally beat. I think it's about 8 o'clock. I think next we'll mill up that aspen, put a roof on here, and then we no longer have to worry about everything getting rained on. I gotta put all this stuff away, and then I should probably put a tarp over the top of this. There's no telling when I'll get that MRI, and if I do, what'll happen from there. I promised some people really early on that I wouldn't just disappear, like stop making these videos and never be heard from again. So at least for my patrons, people that support me out here, I will let you know if anything crazy happens. I would say with any luck, they're going to find something pretty horrible in my back and I'm going to get a surgery, and then I'll be right back out here living like this. It certainly is a challenge. I mean, in the 4+ years that I've been out here, the only thing that's been a worry is my back, and then that one time I fell on the ice and broke some ribs. It really makes you realize what a pain it is to live out in the forest like this alone, where the only way in and out is a four-wheeler and there's nobody around to call for help. But the stairs have a railing on them, no more broken ribs, and maybe I'll get a new back. I don't know, maybe they'll say there's nothing wrong, maybe I'll get a shot. I shouldn't even guess. I am gonna have a hard time believing this, but I am not a doctor. I'm pointing at a beer shirt telling you I'm not a doctor. Okay, I gotta get stuff cleaned up, eat some dinner, go to bed, get rained on. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Probably next week.